Well, cool. It's good to meet you finally.
You too.
I've known who you are for a long time. Obviously, a lot of people have love for you in our little community. When I put that little teaser post up, it got a good response. I hope you saw that.
I did see the teaser post, and that scared me. Like, oh, I'm really doing
Well,
this.
hey, I hate to admit it, but I don't know a lot about the deaf and hard of hearing community. I know that you teach different. Am I using the right language? First of all, is that a proper way?
You are.
Okay.
It changes from era to era.
Okay.
But deaf and hard of hearing. I used to be hearing impaired, deaf and hard of hearing. You're on
Okay. What can you tell me a little bit about the work that you do with kids and maybe what kind of drew you to the side gig of doing music?
Yeah, sure. So I work with the deaf and hard of hearing, um, pre-K to 12th grade. I'm in the country
Oh,
now.
wow.
I started out in Athens, close to where you are, in a great little classroom full of pre-K to second graders that were my heart, and that was kind of pretty much the best part of my entire career. I just love that little classroom. Now I'm kind of out in the country. I'm in a very rural area in Pawleys Island, at Georgetown. So I go from school to school. But my hard of hearing kids and my deaf kids are anything from signers, some of them use sign. A lot of them are oral. They're talkers because they're just mainstreamed into regular hearing schools. And, I've got to be up to date on all the technology, all the cochlear implants and the hearing aids and the FM systems and mic systems. And so, but also, a lot of when when you're deaf or hard of hearing, you miss all that incidental learning, all that vocabulary, all those social cues, all those things. So all those come into play with my job as far as supporting them with self-advocacy and vocabulary, reading, all those ELA things that are harder to just pick up when you're missing so much. So a lot of direct teaching, a lot of supporting of teachers so they can do their best to support our kids.
Is there such a thing as, because we talk funny in the South, is there a slang with kids in different parts of the country, or is it more of a uniform language? Is that a stupid question?
Their slang with sign? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Everybody's got their own little thing. There's regional signs that people in the South do that,
Really?
that people in
Hey,
the North,
y'all.
yeah, it's just like that. So we've got our own signs.
I love it.
Every region's got their own little kind of slang, I guess. You're right. Yeah.
I watched that Today Show piece that you did, and that had to have been touching to have previous or prior students of yours participate in that. I'm sure that made you feel good.
That was fantastic for me. I think they did a good job. It was a lot of hard work, but it was. I think they did a good job of giving the whole picture. And I love how it kind of went silent at the end.
That was cool how they did that.
Yeah. I think they did a good job. But my students were the best part for me because those were two of my students that I had in that preschool class I just spoke of, where it was just like that's where all my best work went into. I mean, I was just I was young and I was dumb, but I was just like all in, and those kids were everything to me, and I'm still in touch with every single one of them. And so those twins that were in that video, they're my heart. And now they're having babies. All of them are having babies.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So I get all the baby notifications and graduations. So I just, that was, I think they did a good job. And but that was very special to have my students involved too.
And just when you think you couldn't love JB anymore, I was not surprised, with all the work that they've done with kids, with Hannah's Buddies and Tunes for Tots. I was touched by his desire to make sure that he was getting through to those folks in a way that he wanted to make sure that the music was being interpreted to them and making sure they had a good time. I may be paraphrasing a little bit, but can you talk a little bit about kind of what the process is with working with the guys in the band? And I mean, because you gotta know a lot of lyrics.
A lot of lyrics, and early on, I had a binder which I uncovered this week. Of just all these handwritten lyrics from JB. The ones handwritten from JoJo, I still can't read. I mean, and he's getting more involved in the process. But I'm like, thank you, JoJo.
What's it say?
But yeah, they've really gone above and beyond, with supporting me with this and supporting, and they really care. I mean, it could be one person out there. That's all it takes for ADA to have an interpreter come, or it could be 20 people out there. It doesn't matter. They really care about the message, and I think I think it's interesting on a not so on a different level for JB to look over it and see what his lyrics look like. I always see him looking over at that in St. X, about the, pornography of the heart. And, I can see him look over what's that look like? So, but it's a huge privilege because he will sit down. I mean, especially in the early days when we got started, he would just break out a table and we would sit down and go over every single lyric. And not every single lyric, but all the nuances of it and all the meanings. And you don't have almost no interpreter has that privilege and opportunity to sit down and really talk with the creator of the lyrics, see what they really mean. When you're interpreting out there, you don't want to misinterpret, obviously, and you don't want to give away too much of what could be interpreted for them. But when you have it straight from the source, when you have, JB or whoever the, lyricist is telling you exactly what they mean, it is a big privilege. And that's cool. Yeah. And that's the only way I feel right about putting out the hidden meaning,
And you were and you're a Georgia Bulldog. You spent part of your college career in Athens.
I did. Mm-hmm.
So you got to see those guys kind of as they were coming up. Were you a fan of the music at the time?
I was a fan when I was in college. I was in my undergrad. I went to James Madison, and it was just such a great time. As far as all the small festivals going on during that time period. And so when I moved to Athens for graduate school, yes, I actually lived on Sunny Street. And we had a couple Thanksgivings over there, at least, just lots of babysat his kids. Everybody was friends. It's just a great, Athens is amazing. And then of course, Peter was working for them for years. So, so we already were acquainted with each other. And when the opportunity came up and there was requests for an interpreter, it was a natural move.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you about that. So you just happened to be in Colorado when they got the call looking for somebody. How did that work? I mean, they kind of knew of you and just reached out. Is that how?
Yeah. They knew I worked with deaf adults and deaf children, and I was just kind of roadie girlfriend way back then. And then when after Peter and I got married, he quit touring. So it was about 6 years later, right after Sophie was born, that Chris Freibald, who took his job, called me up and was just like, what do we do? We got this request, and we know you work with deaf people. What should we do? And who do we call? And I was like,
I'll do it.
And it's all worked out beautifully.
What I bet you're nervous as shit getting up. Was it 9,000? Or I can't remember how many thousands Red Rocks holds, but
10,000.
I mean the first time getting up on the stage, were you just like, whoa?
Yeah. So that was my first interpreting experience, really ever. I mean, other than that was my first concert experience was Red Rocks. So I just kind of dove right in, and I had serious panic belly. There's a lot going on in there, and I still get that. But it just, back then, like I said, I don't have notes, and I was looking off to the side trying to figure out what was going on. But now it's all in here. I can't imagine doing notes anymore. It's just like it has to be all in here and just come out, or it's just not the same experience.
What how does it work? Are you? I think I noticed you have an earpiece. Are they piping vocals to you only?
More or less.
Okay.
Okay. Brad does an awesome job, and Brad is probably the only person that is still on the team since or on the crew since when Peter was working. So he's always done me right with with some vocals, and I usually just get JB's vocals, so I struggle a little bit more when it's not a JB song. But yeah, I do have those in my ears after a few years anyway. Not in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But that's super helpful.
Yeah, no doubt. What other and I didn't realize that you actually have worked with some other acts. Who else have you had the pleasure of signing for?
Yeah. Panic's my main squeeze for sure. They're my family. Yeah. And they are my main squeeze. But as soon as I did, just right after I did that first gig, I was like, if I'm going to get serious about this, I've got to get serious about this. And, I didn't want to be a one trick. I just needed to dive in, and I needed some mentors, and I got them. Like I just went immediately, signed on to Bonnaroo, Jazz Fest, and all the big festivals, and really, that's where you learn. It's a lot, where you're doing 3 or 4 acts a day, and you're trying to memorize all those lyrics. And sometimes you have a set list, sometimes you don't. You usually don't, and it's just you're all in. So yeah, I went in with that, and just right after that show, I was at Bonnaroo, and I was doing Bruce Springsteen and Tom Petty and Fish, and that kind of led into the Avett Brothers and Erykah Badu and The Cure.
Oh wow!
And Stevie Wonder and Billy Strings and lots of fun people.
Have you ever gotten to with Badu? Have you ever gotten to do "You Better Call Tyrone"?
Oh yeah, I got to call Tyrone. I did. Oh,
Ashley loves that song, and my Morning Jacket does that tune, and in fact, there's a video of Jim James doing it with Erykah Badu, and it's a trip because she doesn't know what the fuck to think of him. He's like all into it, like down on the floor. Anyway, I'm sorry, I digress.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten to work with some really fun folks, and I've also gotten to work with some things that were a little out of my wheelhouse. I try to stay in my lane a little bit, but like I've done Kenny Chesney. a little country.
Oh wow!
And I had a blast. It was just like,
I'm sure, yeah.
It's and country's a little easier. You kind of know what to expect. It's but it was super fun, and his people were wonderful. So I love staying in my panic lane, and they are my main squeeze. But it's fun to get those other experiences and learn a little bit, get outside my comfort zone a little bit. Even Christian rock and Fish, way outside my comfort zone. But but in Grizz, EDM music is kind of something that's been a challenge that I'm trying to push myself to do more, not many lyrics, sometimes no lyrics at all. I just did a festival recently that was, I don't know if you're familiar with Grizz. I love them. And I do like
I've heard of them.
deep house and some EDM. But yeah, I ended up, I showed up and they're like, oh, you have to do these like 4 acts and then Grizz. And you don't have a partner and it's no words. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, so that's challenging to me, but that is that's something I'm trying to learn how to do better. And I think there is a real need for it. There's a lot of deaf festival goers and music lovers and EDM lovers. I mean, you've got that base, but they want to see what it looks like. So you've got to.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's not just words, and it's not just words. Even with jam band music, you know, it depends on the folks. Some people want to just see words, but some people want to see what all that instrumentation looks like. So it's
wow.
It's very it's I'm not up there just dancing. I'm up, you know, every little twitch is a different instrument, and you know, every little body part becomes a different instrument, and it's so
oh shit, I had no idea. That's cool.
Yeah, and like I said, some folks want to see all of that, and some folks are just there for the words, and kind of depends where you are and your continuum of deafness too. I mean, people think that deaf people going to a festival is kind of weird, but for one thing, deaf is not usually deaf. Deaf is like, you know, this is the sign for like zero hearing. But most people hear something, you know, they hear the bass or they feel the bass. Or they, you know, hear some of the musicality. So it's
that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a continuum there. So
that's really cool. It's something I should read up on. I'm a little embarrassed to say I'm a little ignorant on the topic, but I love kids, and so you definitely have a spot in my heart for. I know that's got to be a passion for you. Just what's the term I'm looking for? Anyway, so you just got back from Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
How was that?
It's fabulous. It's always fabulous. It's you know, there's only a few festivals that I still just really love, and that's one of them.
Yeah. Did you get what's those cakes they have down there? The
cake.
Oh shit. Beignets, and then there's a.
We did so much eating this time. I think we did more eating than music. So much of the red buds. We did so much crawfish and so many oysters and crawfish and Monica and the jama and all the good stuff. They served so good. But yeah,
did you get to check out? Did you catch goose while you were down there? I'm curious to know what you thought about it.
Caught goose. Caught a little of everything for the first weekend. Goose was good. It was my first goose. So I don't know. I wasn't like blown out of the water, but they were really good players. Just, I mean, everybody was so skilled and it was so sharp, and it was a little fishy. It was a little fish flighty.
Yep.
But it was, and it was like, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, and I just got there.
Right.
So I would give goose another try. It didn't suck me in, but it was definitely some good stuff, and I can see why people like it for sure.
I will tell you, give them another shot where you can see them at night, because their lights are on point.
Okay.
So it you know, it makes a difference. You know, you got some visual stuff going on. So, So Panic just announced they're doing Richmond for the first time in a long time. I know that's your old stomping grounds.
That is my hometown, and
it's a neat place. It's got like this older, like colonial feel to it. My sister lived there for a little while when she was married, but a neat town. And I think Dave has moved there now to be a little closer to family, is what I heard.
Yeah.
Are you gonna head up? You're gonna head up there, I hope.
I hope so. I don't have any requests, you know, because I don't go to every show, which a lot of people don't understand, including some of the band. um, like, no, Jojo, there's no deaf people here. There's no need for me here. Um, so yeah. So if there's a request, I'm there. But if there's not, then I don't go. So I hope that we've got some deaf music fans in Richmond, because that venue is really pretty special, and I have not been there. It's brand new. I'm not sure if they've had any shows there yet. But it's my old stomping ground, Browns Island. It's just like right downtown. I mean, the whole town is. They've done such a good job with the downtown area and restoring all the canals and the river area. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope that I get to go. I'll probably go without work. It's just,
You brought up a good point. What is the? I mean, I would assume that people, especially in the deaf and hard of hearing community, know this. But for folks that maybe don't know, what does the ticketing process look like for someone that may need or want someone such as yourself to be there? How does that work?
And that's a good question, and a lot of people don't understand that. And it's still a bit of a struggle. I mean, ADA was passed in 1990, and I feel like we're still making very slow progress on that. But in general, when somebody, when all things go right, and somebody wants to go to a show, they want to go to Richmond, whatever, they buy tickets like everybody else, but they need to stop and go to the ADA section, and it's a little different for every venue. So I've been kind of steadily working with every venue to streamline that a little bit. But they usually have to pause and email somebody, and they get, it's a little tricky because you know how buying panic tickets or something really popular is, they just go really fast. So
right.
So a lot of times it's hard for deaf and hard of hearing people to get those ADA tickets, and that's another issue that we work with. And Brown Cat and Panic especially have been very helpful with that as far as maneuvering that situation.
Accommodating.
But going back to it, I mean, if you are deaf or hard of hearing and you are a sign language user, you just need to request an interpreter, and it goes to the promoter, and then the promoter needs to hire an interpreter for that event. And Panic is so fabulous because I'm their designated interpreter, so I'm kind of on their
rider.
Their rider. So, and I don't think any other bands have a designated interpreter, which is another really great privilege for me, but for the deaf community too, because they want to see the same people singing as they do, every time. So a lot of, you can't always provide the same interpreter for every band, but I understand the deaf community, would want to see the same signs, the same interpretation, the same vibe from one person to the next and one show to the next.
It'd be like having a different lead guitar player
exactly
every show. I went to go see Panic. I'd be like, "What the hell, guys?"
Or singer,
Let's tighten this shit up.
Yeah. So it's something.
You bring up a good point. I know there's some legislation passed. I want to get into politics, but we bought tickets for Sturgill Simpson next weekend here in Alpharetta, and it was the first time I've seen that his tickets are non-transferable. So, like, the parking passes you can't transfer the tickets. So I feel like there's a little bit of a movement in that direction to kind of keep tickets in the hands of fans. I hope. It's gotten out of control.
Yeah, it has. And then that's tricky too if they're non-transferable for people who can't get in under the wire.
Can't go.
They can't go. Or
that's true.
They can't get in under the wire, so then they buy them from somebody else. Well, then their ADA rights are not there because they're buying from somebody else. And then if they're not even transferable, that's tricky too. So
hopefully they'll figure it out. Anyway.
Yeah, I hope so too. But it's often a struggle. Yeah. Red Rocks has got their own. They've actually got their own deaf and hard of hearing section for ADA, thinking that would solve the problem. But there are people out there that take advantage of the system.
You ever seen anything weird? You ever seen anything weird when you're on stage?
Anything weird?
Yeah, Eddie. So I try to catch you off guard.
I see a lot of weird things. I see a lot of weird things, but what stays in the pit? What happens in the pit? Should stay in the pit.
Fair enough.
There's a lot of things, but
fair enough.
There's always such weird stuff. I mean, I've had to. Yeah. I was part of tackling somebody that tried to jump on stage after talk one time. And then I've had other people, jump up on my pedestal. My platform. Sometimes
Your
I'm on the
nest.
stage, sometimes I'm on the pit, sometimes I'm on the platform. I mean, one time I had a Courtney Cox moment where Bruce Springsteen, threw his guitar. It was Dancing in the Dark. I mean, apparently he does this sometimes, and I was not aware. He jumped up on my platform and danced with me, and I had to teach him dancing in the dark, and he was doing it, and all the deaf people were like, "Oh my God,
that's awesome."
So everybody's like, and he's up there, and and I totally nerded out. There's some video of it. I think I kissed him.
What happens in the pit stays in the pit.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't.
We see a lot of crazy stuff out there.
I didn't want to miss the opportunity to ask you about. So recently, it was the anniversary of the Hampton 70 show at the Fox in Atlanta. You had the opportunity to kind of mingle with the Colonel a little bit. Is he an alien? Was he an alien?
Definitely.
Okay. I've talked to people that have said, and I'm talking people from all walks of life, have said that they can guess. He could guess their birthday to the day.
100%.
Obviously know their sign, what sign they were, but what was your relationship with him, and more broadly, like how has he? I got the impression from the Hampton 70 show with the broad, diverse group of guys that were up there with him that he touched a lot of lives, especially that of musicians. But anyway, I'm rambling. I just wanted to hear what your experience was with him.
Oh, I mean, I don't have a ton of experience with Bruce, but you didn't have to be around him but for a few minutes before you knew he was an alien for sure. Never thought that way, but yeah. I mean, guess my birthday, my daughter, spent the night here one time. He played here in Pawleys Island, which is so random to think about. He was everywhere and everything. And
super wise,
so wise, and just affected so many people. And yeah, he's so missed, but what an impact he made on everybody while he was here.
Yeah, no doubt. I was going to ask you, I won't keep you too much longer, but what kind of music are you listening to these days? What can you turn me on to?
Well, we have been doing a lot of Cuban music. I mean, New Orleans music is always happening here, but we just went to Cuba with Trombone Shorty and his cultural exchange with Cuba, and with the kids especially, really doing a lot of work in there. And so Sima Funk is incredible, and just blows my doors off. And a lot of those Cuban artists are really something special.
Interesting.
My daughter, I think, she's getting involved in the marketing and music business a little herself. She's very into, and Peter and a lot of the folks are really paying attention to one of the local bands around here called Congress the Band. Young guys, just really up and coming. And I'm always, my favorite My favorite show this year was the Pixies, but other than that,
Yeah.
tried and true. That's my heart. But yeah, a lot of Sima Funk and Converse fans.
That's cool.
Very different.
All right, so I've thought about this a little bit. I've come to the determination that I think we're very similar in age. What's your
29.
skincare routine? What's your skincare routine, and how do you keep those guns of yours so shredded?
Oh, my shredded guns. They're not so shredded anymore. They're not going to be featured so much from here on on.
Whatever, girl. You look great.
Thank you.
I feel like I could keel over at any minute. You look great.
Thank you very much. No special tips for you.
Okay.
Stay out of the sun and do your push-ups.
Well, did you want to? This was the first time I'd forayed into video, and it's funny because I was laying in bed one night. You and I had gone back and forth about doing an episode, and I was laying there and I was thinking, oh my God, it has to be visual. So thank you for being patient with me. Is there anything you want to say to our people out there that are our ASL people or our deaf and hearing, hard of hearing people?
I just love my little deaf home team. I mean, thank you for allowing me to share the ride with you. I'm good.
That's fantastic.
It's a privilege.
That's fantastic.
It's a privilege.
Well, I hope. Well, I hope you make it to Richmond. I know that's a homecoming of sorts for you, and I really appreciate you making time for me. It was really good to talk to you.
I really appreciate you. It's been fun to be here, and I hope I get to go to Richmond too. A little more home team for me. It's been fun to see. Last time I went home to see my mom, I saw Dave just hanging out. It's like it's different.
That's funny.
So yeah, hopefully we'll see you there. Are you coming to Charleston?
No, I've got the kids that weekend. I really wanted to. I'm a little bitter about it because I do love Charleston. We have been to the past couple of Trondosas, but I just can't make it. I can't make that trip. Yeah. Damn it. Parenting.
Do better. Try harder.
Adulting.
I get it.
I appreciate you, Edie. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. It's been great.